Everyone has to live somewhere, and everyone has to invest their money someplace. So what happens when where you live meets up with where your money is invested? Hello, real estate. Hey, welcome back to Big Money Real Estate. This is my Wednesday interview program on the Expert Real Estate Tips channel. I'm Ilyce Glink. I'm here to help you make the best money moves possible. Be sure to subscribe for weekly insight and tips from real estate and personal finance experts that I interview on the show. This week, my guest is Rob Chrane. Rob is the CEO of Down Payment Resource, which tracks homeownership programs that can help make buying a home more affordable. I met Rob, 2, 3, 4 years ago as he was just launching downpaymentresource.com, and it's been exciting to see the process. By leveraging relationships with more than 1,200 finance agencies, housing finance agencies, Down Payment Resources put together a useful tool for homebuyers and real estate professionals alike. According to their research, some 87% of homes are actually eligible for some type of home ownership program, and $10,000 is the down payment benefit found most frequently. $10,000 for free, who wouldn't want that? Now you may be asking yourself, will I qualify? Rob is here to share those details. Hey Rob, welcome to Big Money Real Estate. Nice to see you.
Thank you, Ilyce. Great to be with you.
All right, so downpaymentresource.com is one of these really interesting programs, and I love how you've been growing it. Anybody can go online from anywhere in the world and they can look to see if they qualify with some housing finance agency for a down payment assistance program. Now, typically it's for first-time home buyers, right?
That's correct, although it's important to know that the definition of first-time home buyer for these purposes is that you have not owned a home within the last 3 years.
Right, which actually makes a big difference. I would argue that anybody who hasn't bought in the last 3 years, the whole market's changed, so you want to treat yourself like a first-time home buyer. It's good to know that the housing finance agencies are doing that as well.
Right.
Saving for a down payment is really, really hard. And we know from years and years, decades really, of research that the biggest obstacle to home ownership is the down payment. Are any information that you have on how millennials are actually doing saving up for that first-time home buyer down payment?
Well, that's a great question, and it's tough. As you said, it's historically been the single greatest obstacle, but today, with stagnant wages, a still recovering job market, it's tough on millennials to accumulate even 3, 5, 10% for a down payment.
How many more home buyers would be able to afford to buy a home if they just knew about some of these down payment assistance programs?
Well, unfortunately, there's no way to put an actual or an accurate number on that, but based on research we've seen, we would estimate it, hundreds of thousands, if not millions.
Yeah, I know that the realtors would be thrilled to have some of those home buyers out there, although we can also discuss how there wouldn't be any homes for them to buy, but that's another issue. According to your research, it looks like you launched originally with how many programs listed, down payment programs, and how many do you have now?
When we launched the public site, I'd say about 12 or 1,500 programs, and now it's just over 2,400.
That's amazing. And is it across the whole country?
Yes, it is. And about 19 of those programs are actually available nationwide. About 24% of those programs are available in a given state, so statewide, and then the rest are local.
Now, I understand from some of the information on your website that there are 5 misconceptions about down payment programs or down payment assistance programs that you suspect may be keeping some buyers on the sidelines for longer than necessary. We've talked about the first myth, which is that the programs are only for first-time home buyers. 37% of those programs don't have the first-time home buyer requirement. Is that also, you mean above and beyond the, I haven't bought in the last 3 years?
That's right. Absolutely. You could have owned a home yesterday. And as long as you don't own a home when you go to close on the new home with one of these programs, then you would be eligible.
Which is really great. Second myth you have is that home ownership programs make financing more difficult. Do people really believe that if they get into one of these home buyer assistance programs or down payment assistance programs, that that's going to be a problem for financing?
Well, It's true that there are extra steps involved, but as you pointed out, with the most prominent down payment assistance amount across the country being around $10,000, therefore, obviously, some are even more than that, wouldn't you take an extra step or two to be able to put yourself in a better situation financially, both short-term and long-term?
Now, the third myth that you have is that for down payments is that you need to put down 20%. And today we know even for FHA, it's as little as 3%. I think it's even less for some HUD homes, right? I mean, I think it might even be as little as $100, depending on who you are and what you do for a living. What's your experience with what's going on out there for down payments?
Well, first of all, it's surprising how many consumers, especially first-time home buyers, overestimate the amount of down payment they need. So in a recent survey, for example, 37% of the respondents thought that they needed 20% down. But there's an even higher number of consumers, and especially millennials, that think they need a lot more than, as you said, $100 or 3%. And it makes sense because they came of age over the last 5 or 6 years, and what has everybody heard over that period of time? You need 20% down, mortgage credit is too tight. And so there are a lot of people that have just sidelined themselves. That's why we think, hundreds of thousands or maybe even millions of people who are qualified and could buy a home today just aren't looking.
Well, one of the things that I really like about some of the programs you list is you've said you've got 19 programs that are nationwide, so everybody can get access. There are also some county-wide ones, there are some local city ones, and you note that statewide programs can often be layered with local down payment assistance programs. That I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, that's right. And, it's really important for potential home buyers to it's always important for them to work with lenders, but in addition to the advice that you and other people give them about, get pre-qualified first, this should be another step of being pre-qualified. Ask lenders you talk to, do you offer any of these programs? Which programs do you offer? And which of them might be layered, as you say?
Now, more than 14% of the down payment assistance programs are designed for individuals who are providing a community service. Educators, we've got fire people, we've got police people, healthcare workers, veterans, and other special circumstances. How do you search for those programs on your website?
Well, it's really easy. There's only about 6 or 8 questions on the website, and one of them is special circumstances. So you would enter, are you a veteran? Or are you a protector, a teacher, an educator? I'm sorry, a teacher, educator, nurse, firefighter, spouse of a protector, municipal worker. So you just check those buttons, and then that should return any programs for which you're eligible.
In my last book that I wrote, Buy, Close, Move In, I talk about, and this is before I had even met you, but I talk about how these down payment assistance resource programs are really not very well known. They're still not talked about really by realtors, although I know you have a version of your website for realtors, which I think is great that they pay for. But consumers don't often realize that there's help out there at a variety of income spectrums. And so in my book, I talked about how you should use a Google and type in down payment help or down payment resources and the name of the city. And here you came up with a website that does exactly that for people, I think in a more expedient fashion because it searches for things. How many people are coming to your website now?
Well, as you mentioned, we license the product to realtors through their MLSs and to lenders also. So we're primarily a B2B model, but we do want, as you pointed out again, we do want to have it available to anybody so that if their local realtor or MLS or lenders don't have the information, that they can go somewhere and easily get it. So the traffic we get is primarily organic traffic. So in other words, we're not at this stage building a destination site. So we've probably got, I'd say 40, 50,000 unique users a month.
Which I think is terrific. It really is important. I mean, remember, we only have, less than probably 5 million existing homes that will be sold this year. probably $5 million all in. So $50,000 a month is not a bad number to start out with.
Good point.
Rob, thank you so much for being with us. Rob Chrane is the CEO of Down Payment Resource. You can go online and find it at downpaymentresource.com. He's based in Atlanta. Again, thank you, Rob, for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Ilyce.
Sounds good. We'll have you back again. Thank you for watching this episode of Big Money Real Estate. You can send me your questions on Twitter. I'm at Glink. And at Facebook, Ilyce Glink. And I will be happy to answer them on future shows. Would love it if you would share this video all around with everybody you know. And check out some of my cool products on the thinklinkstore.com website. See you next time, everybody. I'm Ilyce Glink.